What is going on, everybody? We're here and we're live for the Wednesday stream a little bit earlier than normal this Wednesday because things are all weird. Things are crazy. As soon as we're done with the stream, I'm taking off. I'm traveling. I'm going to Dallas for the weekend. So I will be in Texas, as some of you guys know, and maybe even some of you guys watching the stream. I might see you there. That'd be cool. That would be cool. But yeah, so we're going live a little bit earlier than normal. Can't tell. Got the haircut. It was time. Making an appearance in public. I couldn't go looking like a damn homeless person. That wasn't going to work. But yes, we're ready to rock and roll. And we got stuff to talk about. We got the gaming space to talk about. Ghosts of Yotei. Ghosts of Yotei shot themselves in the foot by hiring woke activists, because this is what happens when you hire woke activists, when there's woke activists in the company, and when you appeal to woke activists, you get burned by both sides. So we're going to talk about that, the horrendous dislike ratio that they have on their trailer that's coming out. Of course, after they, decided to hire somebody who celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk. And even by firing that person, you've now angered an entirely different side who's mad that they fired someone for celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk and who now says they won't play the game either. So maybe, just maybe, hire people that are good at their jobs and aren't going to be woke activists. That'll make your games better and that'll make your sales better. Just a guess. We've got other people who are saying very ridiculous things about Charlie Kirk, or protecting people who have said ridiculous things about Charlie Kirk. Like one of the Matrix directors, another man who identifies as a woman, defending a hideous. I mean, there's levels to this, but we all of them kind of are. But defending the vile, fat beast that worked for DC Comics who celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk. You want to know why they're defending, almost gendered them, why he is defending this other guy? Well, maybe it's because the transgender terror, weird sexual fantasy novel that beast wrote a few years ago, maybe it's because this other transgender person is adapting that book. The one where J.K. Rowling gets burned to death, that one. Yeah. We'll get all into that stuff. George Takei, once again, calling people Nazis he disagrees with, which, hey, it's almost like that's exactly what led to the murder of Charlie Kirk. It's weird how that works, isn't it? Disney, after claiming, hey, we're done with this political climate stuff, and saying, hey, we're going to get rid of all this DEI. We're really going to put it on the back burner. It's not going to be important anymore. We're going to get back to entertainment. What do you know? Offering $250,000 salary for yet another DEI activist at their company. So we'll get into that too. A lot of stuff. The Proton Spinner looks like Destiny got punted from Twitch for a minute after coming unglued on Piers Morgan. The Proton Spinner, unfortunately, if you believe that, you got successfully trolled by Destiny. Destiny was banned off of Twitch 3 years ago, I think. Ironically, I believe he was banned off of Twitch. This is going to be the ironic part. He was banned off of Twitch back in 2022 for advocating that transgenders don't compete in women's sports. I believe, if I recall correctly, that was why he got banned. Now, he tweeted that out to obviously try to get attention and to try to trick some people and troll some people, and it very successfully worked, to be honest with you. But yes, that is the irony of the whole thing. He was banned by super progressive people who said he was essentially being transphobic by saying trans people shouldn't compete in women's sports. Ironic? Well, I think I do think there's a lot of irony. I think there's a ton of irony in the idea that Destiny is getting lambasted by everybody, and rightfully so, for a lot of the shit that he's saying right now in regards to not only the Trump assassination attempt, but Charlie Kirk's assassination, the things he's saying about his wife. I think he's getting a lot of well-deserved criticism for that. The irony is that post that baited so many people into talking about him getting banned, he actually got banned 3 years ago by people who are even further left than him. So yes, it is quite ironic. It is quite ironic, I would say. But let's say hi to the good people in the chat. It has been a rough week, guys. Last week for this stream, I was live talking about the fact that Charlie Kirk had just been murdered, that Charlie Kirk had been assassinated, and that there were people celebrating this and the insanity of it all, and them looking for the person. And it was one of the more different streams I've ever done, obviously, because I was just mainly focused on that topic and talking about my feelings about it and how angry I was and all that shit. Whereas, normally we have a little bit more fun on the streams. There was no fun to be had. There was no fun to be had that night, understandably so. But normally, we come in here, we joke around. I read the chats. I cover a couple stories, some different stuff, clip things out. The day that Charlie Kirk was murdered was certainly different than that. And of course, we've learned so many things since then. Despite the left's insistence that, oh, well, his parents are Republicans. So obviously this kid was a right winger. He was MAGA too. Okay. So you're telling me the left calls Charlie Kirk a Nazi and hateful and a bigot and a racist and a homophobe and a transphobe and all this stuff for years and years and years. The left celebrates when he's murdered. They're gleeful. They're happy about it. They're cheering it on. You want to be like, well, obviously the person who killed that guy, they must be a right winger. They must be MAGA. Of course they're of course they're trying to spin it. He was 100% MAGA. You're telling me the dude who is described as having left-wing political ideology and fomenting left-wing political ideology over the last couple of years by friends, family members, coworkers, all of the above. The dude who admits to several of these things, admits that Charlie Kirk was hateful and he had to take him out because you can't argue with hate. The dude who is living with and fucking another man who is a furry, who is in the middle of transitioning to pretend to be a woman. That just reads MAGA all over. The dude who wrote fascist, who called Charlie Kirk a fascist. That guy, he's just right winger. That just screams right wing, doesn't it? It's disgusting. It is fucking vile that the media runs with this stuff. It is vile that Jimmy Kimmel, that stupid bitch-ass cuck, that he goes up there and says that shit on his show. It is vile for every headline that reads that it seems like it wasn't ideologically motivated, and he may have been a conservative. Every person that runs that, every person in the media that runs that, you are a vile, despicable, evil, demonic piece of shit. You just are. But you know why they do it? They do it because it works. Go look at your Facebook feeds, right? I think that's like a very interesting way. I never use Facebook, but I go there once in a while to check and see what people are saying, people that I've known for a long time, people that I've made Facebook friends with in high school, right? Stuff like that. Don't talk to these people anymore, well, for the most part, but a lot of them I don't. I like to go there and scroll and see how that side of the world, not the side of the world like us, who's constantly on the internet, stuff like that, how like they are looking at things. And you realize why the media tells these lies, because people slurp it up. They slurp it up like this assassin slurps up the cum of his fucking transgender furry boyfriend, right? They fucking slurp it up and then they just regurgitate it. That's what they do. So that is why the media continues to lie, because it works. People are tricked by this shit. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. But I mean, speaking of disgusting, I guess that analogy was a little bit disgusting. But, sometimes you got to make a point. Let's scroll through some of this stuff here. Let's say hi to some of the good people in the chat. I see Jim Heimerl, the Primary Axiom, Sean Green, Supra Deluxe, Melissa Love, Breakfast, Sons and Shadows, Fourth Drawer Down, Kitty Brown Eye, that's Breakfast again, 05 Officer 08, Mike Scorpio, John Dalt, Rutabaga, Godzilla, just straight up Godzilla in the chat, Melissa Love, let's see, who else? Nataragus, thank you. Boyd Arcade, M. Spock, Brandon Day, Almonte, Observatory, Novitic, really big. Lady Scythe, Sean Green, Crunts Pants. A lot of new names in chat. Today. So hello, everybody. Thank you. Welcome. If it's your first time here, you're recently subscribed to the channel. I'm live on Sunday evenings and Wednesday evenings right around this time, 5:30, 6 p.m., something like that. And if it's your first time in the stream, welcome. Blue-Eyed Scorpio, you're not a new name. You've been here for a long time. Pamela Stewart, Ryan K., what are your thoughts on Pam Bondi saying the DOJ will come after people for hate speech? I hate that. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's absolutely insane. There is nobody that should have any type of punishment from the United States government for saying, I'm happy that this person is dead. That shit is protected from any type of judicial punishment, from any type of punishment from the government. It just is. You might not like it. You might think it's gross, but they should not be doing anything about that. In terms of fucking business and stuff like that, oh, we've seen that. We've seen these people free to fire all these people. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fucking United States government coming after people for that. That opens such a big, huge door. And you might, and here's the thing, you might be okay with it until the next thing. You might be okay with it until the next administration. Like, do not. Like, nobody should be rooting for that. And I think it's a fucking stupid thing for them to say and do. Now, there is a difference between people who are like happy about it and saying I'm glad and whatever, like all that horrific shit. That's evil. That is evil, right? There's a difference between that and people that are actually doing like specific calls and incitements to violence, right? Then you get to a point where that is actually potentially actionable. But if you're just talking about people that are like, fuck this guy, I'm glad he's dead. No, not at all. Hate speech is a bullshit term. Hate speech is a bullshit term that we should stop fucking using, because it is all dependent on where you feel that is at. What line do you think that is at? And it's different for everybody. Hate speech is not a fucking thing. There's speech that you don't like. There's speech that you might find repugnant, but the whole hate speech thing is bullshit. And I'm really glad, right? In the midst of the left being like, look at all these conservatives cheering on cancel culture, and you motherfuckers started this. And there's a big difference between somebody donating to a politician you don't like, or somebody saying an edgy word when they were 16 years old, 13 years ago, and you dragged up some old fucking Twitter DM or something, right? There's a big difference between that, what the cancel culture that's been pushed by the left for the last decade plus has been, and what we're seeing now, which are people who are teachers, which are people who are doctors, who are sitting there and gleefully celebrating the public assassination and murder of somebody. There's a big difference between those things. And if you don't understand that, you're a fucking retard too. But I'm very glad that Pam Bondi got wrecked by everybody, right? Almost everything I've seen about what Pam Bondi said from the left and the right, everybody's slamming her, and rightly so. It's a stupid fucking thing to say. Keep your damn mouth shut. Keep your damn mouth shut when it comes to that. Spooky Mace. Spooky Mace for $50. Thank you very much, Spooky Mace, for the big donation. It's absolutely disgusting how the media is painting Charlie's legacy. Makes sense, though, when you have the father of lies as the enemy and the spirit of the woke movement, and God will only use this to draw more souls to him, Satan. Thank you, Spooky Maze. And I 100% agree with you. And, even in the days right after, and, I was talking to somebody about it, and they were understandably very upset and talking about like how disgusting it is to see evil in the world winning and stuff. One of the things I pointed out was that, Charlie Kirk throughout his life always talking about his love for Jesus and his faith and everything, brought a lot of people to God. There's no doubt. In the last week since Charlie Kirk's death, I think that awareness, I think the awareness of who he is, people listening to him, people hearing him talk about God, people hearing him talk about the Bible, I think it has spread so far. And so many people have been brought to faith specifically because of this tragic event. We don't know why things happen. We don't know how, we don't know how things happen and why they happen. And we never will. It's one of the frustrating parts. But there are a lot of people who have come to Christ over this, and that is a huge thing. A lot of souls have been saved because of this. But thank you for the donation. I appreciate it, man. Corruxed for 2 doesn't say anything, but thank you. Spooky Maze, need to see Ryan rage out to set the tone. Much love, God bless. Well, I did not see that, but I did already have a rage out. So I need a lot of those. I got a long drive tonight. Okay, I got a very long drive tonight. I got to stay awake, so I need to power myself through that. Frank the Tank, to this day, I still don't understand why people like Ghost of Tsushima. It was boring as fuck, so the new one could have gone in the trash without the crap. I love the first one. I thought the first one was great. I thought the first one was solid. I thought the combat was really smooth and good. It was basically it was the Assassin's Creed that we should have had a long time ago before Ubisoft came out with this other one they tried to do with Black Samurai, motherfucker. I thought it was great, and I liked the story. I don't think the story was the strongest part. But I liked the story overall, and Jin Sakai and what all the stuff that he did to ultimately get that back. Lightning Sketch Productions. I plan to make a fan edit of 7 movies that include Strange World and Lightyear to dewoke each through cuts for personal viewing. Wow, that seems like a big project, Lightning Sketch Productions. I should get a job at Disney. Do it before they release them. That might work. Novatic for 2. Novatic. Shout out to all the dumbass devs who showed who they really are. Never going to spend a dime on them again. Thank you, Novatic. Appreciate it. Appreciate the $20. Spanky Jones for 5. For the party that hates guns, they sure do use them an awful lot. Yeah, it's weird, right? Weird how that works. Frank the Tank with 5. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gifted memberships. Thank you, Frank the Tank. Appreciate it, man. Cole Hauser. Hey, Ryan, my bro. I texted you for support. Last week. I felt your pain, brother. I appreciate it, man. I think I did see it. I had so much stuff going on and family I was talking to and everything, but I appreciate it, Cole Hauser. You're awesome, bro. Appreciate it, man. Gonzo Sean, you can't hate the media enough. You really can't. You really can't. J&J Games and Music became a member. Thank you, J&J. And then Dr. Spike also became a member. Brocatron for 20. It's funny how the left, specifically people like Destiny, claim he's right-wing because his family is, but the Destiny's family is right-wing, and he's the opposite up to the point of celebrating and inciting violence. Yeah, that's such a wild thing. This entire argument, and thank you, Brocatron, for the 20 Canadian. The entire argument that we're seeing about his parents were MAGA, so he was conservative. What do all these people say? All these fucking freaks on Blue Sky, all these degenerate fucks with pronouns in their bios and changing their genders and poly non-binary, whatever the fuck they identify as, right? What do all these people say consistently? My family just doesn't understand. My family are Trump. I had to cut off my family because of this. I had to stop talking to this because they didn't accept. So all you motherfuckers have different political views than your parents. You can't understand how your parent could vote Republican while you want to fucking cut your dick and turn it inside out. You don't understand how your family couldn't accept you that way. Yet, you're trying to convince me that this dude has to be a right-winger because his parents were? Miss me with that shit. Miss me with that shit. Bearded Scout, keep doing what you're doing. Be safe on your trip. I am. I am going to be safe on my trip. I'll be in Texas. Reciprocal, all that good stuff. So yes, I will be good. But I am very much paying attention. I'm not gonna lie. The idea of, look, we do a lot of these meetup things. We meet a lot of people. Blah blah blah. All this stuff. We talk about where we're gonna be. We have that stuff in mind. We have security stuff in mind for those events. But yeah, I can't pretend like the idea that I'm leaving for a trip 8 days after we saw something like that doesn't make you more aware, conscious of it. So I will be very much so. Anima chains. Lately, I must remind myself that vengeance belongs to God, not us. Glad to watch your streams, brother. Very true. And like ultimately, a lot of people that are celebrating this, you know, it's not going to be great for them when this life is over. It's not going to be great for them. But I'm going to do my part. I'm going to do my part to make it not good for them while they're here as well. Greedy Graffiti, what up, Ryan? I'm eating healthy tonight. Remove the center bun from my Big Mac. That sounds good. Sounds good, Greedy Graffiti. J&J Games and Music for $50 says Kirk has become a modern day martyr for the faith, and a patriot for the country. Thank you, Ryan, for so many supportive posts these past few days. Well, thank you very much, J&J Games and Music. And yes, I did see the Obi-Wan meme used a lot over the past week to describe Charlie. Strike me down, I'll become more powerful, blah blah blah. There's just a lot of truth to it. There just is. The explosion in Turning Point donations and Turning Point chapters that people want to start, the explosion in people becoming aware of who Charlie is beyond just knowing he's just the right-wing guy who debates college kids, right? The explosion of people watching his videos and finding out that he is not the person that the left is trying to make him out to be, the converting of people to faith, the converting of people to this side of the aisle. It has awoken a monster. It just has. It just has. Schwiz for 5. Bring back insane asylums. Bro, I don't know if there's enough land. I don't know if there's enough land to do that. Zach Updegraff for 2. Appreciate you and the fellowship. Thank you. Thank you, Zach. We appreciate you guys. Like, honestly, like, for me, you going live on Wednesday. It's one thing when you're saying a lot of stuff to yourself, or when you're texting somebody or whatever, when you're able to verbalize that shit, when you're able to put it out there, when you're just able to have this stream of consciousness that you put out, and you realize what you're feeling as well. And so it's been good. It's been good to talk about this stuff. For sure. Deeds, Minnesota, with a gifted subscription on Rumble. And thank you, Deeds. I saw some of the stuff you sent on PayPal during the stream the other day, and I appreciate your support. You're awesome. You're awesome. But I guess we could get into something that's not awesome, which is Ghost of Yotei. We can make that the first thing we talk about. We can make that the first thing we talk about. Chrissy's doing stand-up in Dallas too. I found out about that on FNT. I had no idea she was even going to be there. So I don't know if our schedules are going to align at all. We'll see. Actually, I don't think I need the whole screen. I just need the window for this one. Only have to share the whole screen and get all this stupid fucking things on the bottom when I what is it? When I have to share audio. I don't think we need to share any audio for this clip. I think we'll be good. I think we'll be good. hydrate, got to get our water. So that we can talk about Sucker Punch, and so we can talk about Ghost of Yotei, so we can talk about all of this stuff. A few years ago, when Sucker Punch launched Ghost of Tsushima, it was met with a ton of praise and massive sales. It was a huge success, and a lot of people thought that there was going to be a second one, a sequel. But no, Sucker Punch told us this time you get a female protagonist. And we saw the female protagonist had a history of some pretty woke activist types of things in her past. But a lot of people said, hey, you know what? We'll see. Let's see what we get it. They did a good job in the first one. Maybe we'll give them the benefit of the doubt and see how this plays out. Well, very quickly, we realized that Sucker Punch is full of woke activists. They hired a bunch of people on other failed games like Veilguard to get them in there. And then this was really the straw that broke the camel's back. Not great timing for Sucker Punch. In the aftermath of the Charlie Kirk murder, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, for one of your devs to go out there and celebrate his death. Not only just that, but you also had other devs within the company liking this person's posts, celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. And that resulted in that person getting fired. Senior Sucker Punch dev Drew Harrison reportedly fired after celebrating Charlie Kirk tragedy. And then they doubled down, by the way. Now, before, this is some of the stuff that they posted. He died being what he loved, he died doing what he loved, being a transphobic, racist bigot. I hope the shooter's name is Mario, so Luigi knows his bro got his back. All right, this is somebody who worked at Sucker Punch. They worked while they did this. While they posted this, they were working at Sucker Punch, no longer. And you can see that Drew Harrison has changed their profile. Drew punching Nazis till I die. That is now what they changed their profile to. And said, if standing up against fascism is what cost me my dream job I held for 10 years, I would do it again 100 times stronger. This person has been brainwashed by the very same lies that got Charlie Kirk murdered. Right? The lies that are spread about him. Absolutely vile and disgusting. Sucker Punch got a ton of backlash, and it seems like within 24 hours or so, they fired this massive piece of shit. Unfortunately for them, all of this was probably pretty bad timing because they just launched the trailer for Ghost of Yotei. A day ago, this was launched. As you can see, it's not going very well. 16,000 likes to 40,000 dislikes. In the comments section, it's pretty predictable. Sucker Punch new marketing strategy. Alienate 50% of your audience before the game even launches. Bold move. Let's see how it plays out. You have no honor. Lord Shimmer, that's from, we saw that before in the game. R.I.P. Charlie Kirk. Pause it 1 second. Read the comments. Closed videos. Sucker Punch Studio made a game about preserving a culture from invasive ideologies while letting their own be consumed by one. The lack of self-awareness is breathtaking. The comments do not disappoint, gentlemen. A samurai with no honor is not a samurai. For the context of the comments, right? Somebody coming in and be like, hey, just so you guys know why this is happening, one of their senior developers celebrated an assassination. That's why you might be seeing some of this pushback, right? Now, they've also been heavily moderating this comment section. It should look a lot worse. Yellow Flash specifically had his comment removed from the trailer that was garnering a lot of different likes. It simply said R.I.P. Charlie Kirk. Now, if you start scrolling down a lot, you will see there are more R.I.P. Charlie Kirks. You have to scroll for a little while, though, because they are kind of heavily moderating these things. I'm here for Charlie. I canceled my pre-order over the weekend. We want an official apology. R.I.P. Charlie Kirk, you'll always be remembered. The studio's silence is deafening, right? Over and over and over again. Now, they did fire the person. Sucker Punch, you hired a bunch of woke people. This is your fucking problem in the first place. You hired people who care more about their activism than they do about their job. That was mistake number one. It's the mistake that is the root of so much of the rot that is in these companies across the board, across all of entertainment, comic books, TVs, movies, video games, everywhere. When you hire these people whose activism is more important to them than doing their job or keeping their job, you're going to have problems. Not only problems like this that cause a major controversy, but because of what these people are putting in the games, because they put it in the games too. That is the fucking problem. That's the mistake you made by hiring this woke fucking freak to begin with. But You did fire them. You did it silently. You didn't post about it like a lot of other companies did. So maybe that's why some people are still mad. But now you're still getting this backlash because of this person that you hired, even though you subsequently fired them. Another problem Ghost of Tsushima has is that on the other side of the aisle, the people who are over on Blue Sky in their little weirdo freak pronoun in bio echo chamber there on Blue Sky, those people are pissed that they fired the person for celebrating the assassination. Take a look at Blue Sky. I saw Mash the TDS tweet this. Time to boycott Ghost of Yotei. This is a trans person on Blue Sky. Time to boycott this game and Sony until they reinstate the artist. Why are you capitulating to the far right? Your game star is someone Charlie Kirk would have wanted to die. Oh, because the star is like some non-binary, whatever the fuck. These people, all they do is lie and double down on their lies. Absolutely disgusting behavior to crumple to harassment campaigns so easily. Management at Sucker Punch should be ashamed. Boycott Ghost of Yotei. Fuck Sucker Punch and fuck their CEO and upper echelon for capitulating to fucking fascists. And it's not just a couple. Is line after line after line of people saying they're going to refund, of people saying boycott. People on the far extreme, ridiculous left that are doing this, right? So now you're getting fucked both ways. You are getting fucked from both ends if you're Sucker Punch for Ghost of Yotei. You know what could have prevented this? Stop trying to appeal to these people. Stop hiring these fucking freaks. Stop hiring these activists. Stop hiring the type of people that would celebrate the murder of somebody who believed in free speech and free debate. Stop hiring these people, because guess what? One of the reasons that people are still upset about this, that it's getting ratio, is because it wasn't just one person. A lot of people with Sucker Punch were interacting with and reposting and liking this person's post. So clearly, this is a studio that's full of people exactly like this. And now Sucker Punch, they are fucked, because you have both sides who now have a reason in their minds to boycott this game. That's what happens. Let that be a warning to everyone, that this is what happens when you hire these activist freaks. Fuck, man. And it sucks because I really liked Ghost of Tsushima. I thought it was really good. I thought it was a really good game. Like a Bill says, nice video within a live stream. That's how we do it here, Like a Bill. That's how we do it here on this channel. I usually try to get to, 3 or 4 things, and I clip them out and put them out as standalone videos, and like that's how I do my videos normally, right? When I sit down to record something, when I see a topic, when I see something, I sit down, I don't have any scripts. I have a couple things that I want to talk about, and I go. So I figured, why not just do that while I'm streaming too? You guys get to hear it, get to clip it out, stuff like that. The Horde says, what up, Brian? Just here to drop a like and make fun of your forehead. Well, hey, I'll take the like, even if it comes with some forehead memes. Cleveland Brown, always with the tough questions. Ryan, to get wokeness out of video games, would you bang the main character in Ghost of Yotei? I don't think so. Pin drop. I remember your Star Wars novel segments on Geeks and Gamers. Yeah, well, ironically, that's what I'm doing this weekend. Going to hang out with some Star Wars Expanded Universe fans, big fans of the books and novels and stuff like that. So that's what I'm doing this weekend. quit gaming, build Gundams. You're too much of a perfectionist to that. Look, that is the one thing for any aspiring creators, anybody that anybody that is thinking about it or has been doing it for a while, you gotta be okay with it not being perfect. Now, if you're making these, now obviously if you're making like a video essay or something like that, and you're taking a lot of time to script it out, you can be a little more picky or whatever. But for a lot of people, some people, you got to be okay with it's 95% good for this type of stuff. You know what I mean? Oh, maybe I had a maybe I stuttered for a second. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. People still watch it. At least that's how I feel. Maybe you guys hate that. Maybe you guys are like, this fucking idiot. This fucking idiot. He sounds so stupid. Rolando says, hi from Bolivia. Nice. Filthy casual. I've been okay with my channel sucking balls for like 4 years. There you go. As long as just wallow in it, you know. Steven Strange for $1 on Rumble says, George shit talk guy. We could talk about George Takei. I got something pulled up from him. Jimmy Kimmel getting dropped from Nexar's ABC station. Really? There are obviously a lot of calls after what Jimmy Kimmel said. So you see the FCC chair talked about stuff. Nexstar says it will drop Jimmy Kimmel's show. Wow. All right. Let's see. Skip. I'm trying to read this deadline. It will drop. So Nexstar says it will drop Jimmy Kimmel's show from its ABC stations for the foreseeable future following Charlie Kirk comments. Nexstar's own and partner television stations affiliated with ABC Television Network. How many are there? That's the thing. I don't really know how many Nexstar ABC affiliates that there are. Yeah, that came out earlier today. I don't know. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means like a couple dozen channels or like hundreds of channels. I'm not sure. Doesn't say anything about the percentage. I see Vera Darks in here starting trouble. If you want to see what he said, you can watch my video from earlier today. Jimmy Kimmel talked about, we reached a new low when, MAGA did everything they could to try to spin that this guy wasn't one of their own. The FCC need to do their job. Pam Bondi can fuck off. Yeah. Gotta appreciate Ryan's stream of consciousness streams and videos. That's what this is, right? It's literally just me talking to whatever comes to the top of my head and trying to organize it as well as I can before it comes out of my fucking mouth. That's all it is. Some days it's better than others. A lot depends on how much sleep I had the night before, or how much alcohol I drank the night before, or how much alcohol I've currently consumed, which right now is none. Right now is none. I'm not going to either. I got to drive. I got a big drive tonight, so better not. E-Rock for 10. Love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you. Matthew 5:44. This is what Charlie and our Lord wants. It's a good reminder, E-Rock. It's a good reminder. But even when you decide to pray for someone, you can still get backlash somehow. How about that? Isn't that wild? That even if all you do is pray, you can still get backlash. I might have some Taco Bell. Okay, so Nexstar has 32 ABC stations. So that is not that many. So that is a couple dozen, basically, It's interesting, though. That is certainly a move. And a lot of people are not happy with it. So a lot of people are not happy with it. But speaking of prayer and getting backlash for prayer, I guess we can talk about Chris Pratt for a second. In the aftermath of the horrific assassination of Charlie Kirk, the evil that we witnessed play out in front of our very eyes, in front of thousands of college students and everybody that was watching on social media, it was a horrific day. There is no doubt about it. And a lot of people have been slammed for their disgusting reactions to it. Chris Pratt, not one of those people that had a disgusting reaction to it. Chris Pratt had the reaction that all normal people should have. Yet, nevertheless, he got attacked for it. Chris Pratt's post regarding Charlie Kirk is receiving heated backlash. So what could he have said? What possibly could Chris Pratt have said? Well, we talked about it just the other day. This is what Chris Pratt posted. Praying for Charlie Kirk right now, for his wife and young children, for our country. We need God's grace. God help us. I don't know how anyone could see anything wrong with what Chris Pratt posted. But of course, you had thousands and thousands of people that were calling for his jobs, calling him a racist, calling him a fascist, calling him a Nazi, calling him a bigot, all of these things, simply for saying that he's praying for Charlie Kirk and that we need God. And we absolutely do. If the reaction to this is clear, like we do absolutely need God. But Chris Pratt, in response to these lunatics who tried to get him canceled while gleefully celebrating and endorsing more political assassinations, Chris Pratt did have a response. And it was once again to pray. This is Chris Pratt. This is what he posted a few days ago after that backlash had ensued. And let's listen to this message from Chris Pratt.
Hey guys, just stop real quick and pray with me. Lord, you say, be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. In this moment, please, Lord, calm my restless mind. Quiet my anxious heart. Help me set aside distractions and choose what gives life and gives peace. Isaiah 26:3, you keep in perfect peace those whose minds are stayed on you. Lord, fill me with strength to turn my attention toward you, that I find rest and joy in your presence. Amen. Okay, now you can continue strolling, or you can turn your phone off and go outside. Might I suggest the latter? Go get some sunshine, go look at a tree, touch some grass, call a friend. If you've got time to be on your phone right now, you've got time to do your to-do list, and you've got time to reach out to somebody in need and share this prayer with them. Amen.
So that was Chris Pratt's response, right? After these people are like calling for his head, calling for him to get fired for his response, while other people are out there just doing absolutely disgusting, vile, evil things. And what do you know? Chris Pratt got backlash for that too. Chris Pratt faces backlash. Fans accuse him of acting in prayer video. Not even a simple prayer. Not even that can go unnoticed by the woke, vile, violent leftists that are out there that have been trying desperately to celebrate this horrific event over the past couple days. Truly disgusting, but Chris Pratt continues to be one of the only very high-profile people in Hollywood that I do think it's okay to actually look up to, who continues to try to not put out like divisive stuff and tries to put out things like this. Thank you to Chris Pratt for not only speaking out about the evil that is out there, the evil that took place, but also for continuing to show everybody maybe a better way to live your life. So, hail Chris Pratt. And I saw during the middle of that, I'm pretty sure I got a DM. Where is this? I'm pretty sure I did anyway. I just got to find it. Here it is. This is from Benny. All right. Well, I was not planning on talking about this, obviously, but you know how we roll around here. We can roll with the punches. We can figure this out. We can make something out of this. Let me pull up this article that we talked about earlier from Breitbart that actually has Jimmy Kimmel and what he says. Actually, it might have been that Park Place. Might have been that Park Place that I used for that one. Bear with me. This is what happens when we got some breaking news and we want to turn it into a little clip. And scroll down. I think I bookmarked that tweet, so I just need to get that up. And then we will have a story to put together, and we'll show it to you guys. You guys are actively watching how I make a video, basically. It's pretty much what this is. All right, we've got that. We've got that. We've got that. All right. I think we're good. Is Jay in the chat? What's up, Jay? Everybody's hanging around. Bring your audience to work day. It is bring my audience to work day. So I appreciate you guys standing by. This is quite literally how it goes. This is how we make videos here. Surprised you aren't putting this behind the scenes activity behind a paywall. Who would pay for this? I don't know. But let's get into this. Yesterday, we witnessed Jimmy Kimmel, the very person whose ratings have been crashing as he's dedicated the last 10 years of his life to alienating half the country, to insulting Donald Trump on a nightly basis, and calling him and anyone that follows him some pretty disgusting things. That Jimmy Kimmel decided to do more of the same in the aftermath of the murder of Charlie Kirk. It was disgusting, it was despicable, and a lot of people called him out for it. Here's the little snippet of Jimmy Kimmel going with the media's lies and pushing the media's lies, trying to convince people that the person who killed Charlie Kirk, who was radicalized by the left, cheered on by the left for this assassination, wrote Antifa messaging, espoused Antifa messaging, called Charlie Kirk hateful and said you can't negotiate with this type of hate, and also, by the way, is living with his gay boyfriend who's a transgender furry. That guy. They want so desperately to convince you he's a conservative somehow. And here is Jimmy Kimmel doing more of the same.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between.
Right? Just repeating these things, pushing this thing on his show. Well, obviously, in the aftermath of that, people were not happy. A lot of people calling for his job. A lot of people saying, we finally have to get rid of this guy in terms of take him down. Nobody watches this show anymore. Like, it's ridiculous. Looks like there might be some movement on that front, because just a little bit ago, pretty breaking, Nexstar says it will drop Jimmy Kimmel's show from its ABC stations for the foreseeable future following Charlie Kirk comments. Now, Nexstar, they have affiliates with 32 different ABC stations. So we're not talking about every single ABC station, anything like that, but 32 of them out there. And they are dropping the Jimmy Kimmel Show for the foreseeable future. Breaking news, official ABC broadcast affiliate Nexstar is removing Jimmy Kimmel from all 32 of their ABC stations until Disney answers for Kimmel's despicable attack on Charlie Kirk. And this is their official post, their official response to this thing. Company objects to talk show's host comments on the killing of Charlie Kirk. Here's the quote. Nexstar strongly objects to recent comments made by Mr. Kimmel and will replace the show with other programming on its ABC-affiliated markets. Mr. Kimmel's comments about the death of Charlie Kirk are offensive and insensitive at a critical time in our national political discourse, and we do not believe they reflect the spectrum of opinions, views, or values of the local communities in which we are located. Continuing to give Mr. Kimmel a broadcast platform in the communities we serve is simply not in the public interest at the current time, and we've made the difficult decision to preempt his show in an effort to let cooler heads prevail as we move towards the resumption of respectful, constructive dialogue. So we'll see. We'll see if anybody else follows up. There's a lot of heat. The FCC said something specifically about it. There's a lot of heat. Quite frankly, Jimmy Kimmel should be off the air because he's not fucking funny. Jimmy Kimmel should be off the air because he spent the last decade telling anyone who politically disagrees with him to go fuck themselves. And as a result, his show ratings tanked. Yeah, those are all reasons why Jimmy Kimmel shouldn't be on the air. But now this has lit a fire under a lot of people, and a lot of people are very upset, and understandably so. Does anybody have any sympathy for Jimmy? Did anyone see any sympathy for Jimmy? Wonder where Jimmy Fallon is? Jimmy Fallon's on NBC. But Jimmy Fallon typically, I think that Jimmy Fallon, when you look at the four big late night hosts, I think he's the one who stays the furthest away from that. I mean, Jimmy Kimmel is the only one that had Trump on his show, right? When you look at like Colbert and Kimmel and Seth Meyers and Jimmy Fallon, like Jimmy Fallon is the only one that had him there. So he might be the least worst of them in terms of that. So I haven't seen anything that he's said about it necessarily, but who knows? I just think that I just think that the era of late night talk shows are just over. They're just over, really. Because they've changed so much. They're not what they used to be anymore. What they used to be was for your normal, everyday, average family. Dad gets home from work. You spend some time with the kids. You have dinner. You put the kids to bed. You and the wife sit on the couch and you watch The Tonight Show. And it's just lighthearted. It's funny. You might learn a weird little story about this actor or actress or anything like that. And it just, you get to put your boots, you take your boots off, put your feet up on the table for a while, and just kind of relax to end your night, drink a beer, go to bed. Now, it's just political talking points. That's what it is. And that I especially if you don't align with those political talking points, you get really fucking tired of watching that. You get really tired. That's why Greg Gutfeld on Fox News, of all places, on a cable network, is destroying them in the ratings, which is nuts. Getting rid of Craig Ferguson was the worst thing they ever did on late night. Wait, is this real? All ABC stations? For real? Holy shit. You're right. Whoa. Holy shit. We've got an addendum, boys. Disney's ABC. Where's the official comment from Disney? I would really like to find that. I know Benny tweeted about that. I don't like this says ABC pulls Jimmy Kimmel Live indefinitely. Disney's ABC said it would take Jimmy Kimmel's popular late night show off its schedule. All right, well, I guess let's get into this. Let's get into this now. And now, as we're talking about this just comes out too. Apparently, right, this came out about 30 minutes ago. ABC, so Disney, pulls Jimmy Kimmel Live indefinitely after host Charlie Kirk comments. So Variety is reporting that Disney and ABC have pulled him off. Following Nexstar coming out and saying this, following them coming out and saying, we're taking it off our platforms, now apparently ABC is pulling Jimmy Kimmel too. It's done. Like, Jimmy Kimmel is off air indefinitely, apparently. Disney's ABC said it would take Jimmy Kimmel's popular late night show off its schedule indefinitely after one of the biggest owners of TV stations in the U.S., Nexstar Media, said it would preempt airings of the program following remarks the host made about killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. So that might be it. Jimmy Kimmel might be done. Holy fuck. Bro. Bro. He gone. And we'll see. It might come back in a week and he'll be like, I'm really sorry about this. I really apologize. Bro, these people have awoken a fucking giant and they don't understand it. They push and they push and they pushed and they pushed and they pushed to the point where they got someone assassinated. That's what's happening, right? The people like Jimmy Kimmel, people that are in the mainstream media, people on these broadcast networks, they are the ones that have been platforming for a decade the idea that Trump is a Nazi, that he's a racist, that he's a fascist, and his supporters are exactly the same things. Anyone that supports him is exactly the same thing. They have been pushing it for years. That is what got Charlie Kirk killed, what got him murdered, what got him assassinated. And people aren't taking it anymore. That is quick. Let's see if Deadline has an update on that. Deadline also has it now. That's fucking wild. Fuck them, bro. Fuck them. Ryan, are you playing Mario Kart? I'm not playing Mario Kart tonight. Right after this stream, I'm hopping in the car and driving to Dallas. Driving to Dallas. Over on the Rumble side, I saw Deeds Minnesota with 5 more gifted subscriptions. Thank you so much, Deeds. Let's catch up. We got more stuff to talk about. I wasn't expecting that Jimmy Kimmel stuff to... That was a surprise. We had no idea that was happening. We had no idea. Lord Vezer. Hi, Ryan. Been watching your content for 2 years and love your content. The people who are celebrating Charlie Kirk's assassination need serious help. They really do. It's disgusting. Dawnbreaker for 5. Domino's fired a manager for telling coworkers to not celebrate Kirk's death, but didn't fire the people celebrating. Guess we know Domino's politics. I saw one video out there that said that. Look, for a lot of the stuff that's coming out, I would like to believe some of it, but I didn't watch that video in its entirety. It looked like he was just like standing outside talking about what had happened. I don't know if he got any evidence or proof or like got them, the other employees, to talk. I don't know. In like the Office Depot case, that was very obvious because we had that whole thing on camera. There was somebody that said, somebody from Starbucks wrote "loser" on their cup after they ordered Charlie Kirk's drink. Like, and it was just a picture. For that stuff, I need a little more evidence to go off than that. But I did hear that about the Domino's thing. Zach for 5. In a world that praises Pedro Pascal, be a Chris Pratt or a Charlie Kirk. Hashtag we are Charlie. Hi, Kira for 2. Crazy how Star-Lord is actually the best Avenger. I know. Hi, Kira for 5. It's insane that people are saying political assassination is bad as a far-right thing. Fine, by that definition, billions more become far-right. Apparently. Angst Kitten for 5. Ryan, did you see the Variety article about franchise health? They seem absurdly optimistic about DC in particular. You sent it to me, so I did see it that way. But I have not had time to like go through the entire thing. I just kind of like saw the headlines and the one graph. But I might have some time to talk about it. But I haven't actually like got to dig into the article. All that stuff is so vague sometimes because so much of their stuff is based on kind of social media impressions, you know? But like, for instance, The Acolyte had a much bigger social media presence and like being talked about than something like Reacher. But Reacher was like basically the biggest streaming show last year, even though it didn't get talked about very much on social media. So I have to dig into how they're deciding that stuff. Johnny Fizzle for 5. Anyway, we could swap Pam Bondi out with Matt Gaetz. She kind of sucks. Head of the Fellowship. I mean, Matt pulled out, you know? Matt pulled out. So I think it would be tough to convince him to. I think it would be tough considering he's the one that pulled his name out of the running. Obviously, a lot of people were opposed to it, but he pulled out. Gunplorazi, travel safe, playa. I will. Pens fan for life. Disney actually doing the right thing? How the fuck did that happen? Accident. Final Fantasy, let's fucking go, boys. Hex for 2, total chud victory. We did it, boys. Bearded Scout for 199. Jimmy got pulled and now ladies on trampoline. Yeah. Maybe they could rerun the Man Show. Cam for 5. After this, I honestly don't see Dems win for 20 years. Things can change very quickly. Tommy Campari, I think a lot of conservatives and companies are using these vile Charlie Kirk reactions to fire activists they've always wanted to. Not a bad thing. Maybe. Joshua Anderson for 5. Who is George Floyd compared to Charlie Kirk? People weren't dancing on his grave or celebrated his grave, but they worked up the nerve to disrespect Charlie's grave and lose their jobs. Look, there's a big difference between all these like police incidents and George Floyd who dies while being arrested and resisting. And like, there are big differences between this type of stuff and the public assassination of Charlie Kirk. And was there a lot of discussion about that? Yes, certainly. I would know better than anyone. There's a lot of discussion about that shit. Ultimately, the reason that turned into such a big thing was because people were talking about police policies, police procedures, police violence, police brutality. All these things got all wrapped up into that discussion. And so people were talking about those. People weren't saying, oh, yes, of course, I'm so glad that he died. I'm so happy. People weren't saying that shit. Were there people saying, hey, this was excusable because of these things? Hey, that sucks that this happened, but here, this was approved by the police. This is approved police technique. Like, those were the things that were happening during that discussion. The Charlie stuff, there are clearly people that are just straight up celebrating it. Gabriel Knight for $10 on Rumble says critics of cancel culture tried to warn the left for years it would ultimately come back and bite them in the ass. Well, we told you fuckers, so enjoy it. We did, didn't we? We did tell them. Leftist gets fired. Me. Oh no, let's play the world's smallest violin. They've been playing by these rules for forever. We finally caught up. Y'all moved up to killing people, and we decided to cancel a couple people. My gosh. You know what? I still think we have morality on our side. Somehow. Still think it's on our side. I know that's wild. I know that's crazy. You know somebody who doesn't? George fucking Takei. George Takei. Jesus Davila with a gifted membership. Thank you very much. Oh my, someone says. Yeah, oh my. That's right. That's right. George Takei, let's talk about this piece of shit for a second. You would think that in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk being murdered by a radical leftist who was radicalized by the members of the mainstream media, by Democratic politicians, by big-time people in the entertainment industry who have been pushing lies year after year after year about people like Charlie Kirk, about Donald Trump, about MAGA supporters, about everybody, calling them Nazis, calling them fascists, calling them every name in the book that they could call them. You would think that maybe after all that led up to the murder of Charlie Kirk, the public assassination, you would think that maybe some of those very same people that are responsible for those lies being spread, that they might tone it down for a couple days, that they might think twice before they put out something like that. But no, not the case at all, at least when it comes to dumbass George Takei. George Takei, Trump employing Nazi playbook to exploit Charlie Kirk's assassination. Right back at it. This cannot be understated. Calling people Nazis and fascists for just simply kind of being mainstream conservatives has had significant damage. That's why people are cheering on the murder of Charlie Kirk. That's why freaks on the left are doing that, because this has become normalized. It has become normalized to label them a Nazi. It has become normalized to say those things. And when you convince people that they are truly that, they're Nazis, they're fascists. Yeah, the dude who invites people to come speak with him and debate with him and challenge his ideas and speak to them back and forth, civil dialogue, that dude is a fascist somehow. That's how you end up with radical left-wing fucks who murder people in public for being fascists, according to them. And now George Takei can't even hold off this stuff for a couple days before he continues to call people the exact same thing. George Takei over on Blue Sky. After Charlie Kirk's murder, Trump and his allies wasted no time crafting an insidious and baseless narrative. The left is violent, the right is under siege, and only they can restore order. Sound familiar? The Nazis tried the same playbook. These are exactly the types of statements and rhetoric and lies, right? Trying so desperately to connect the people that you don't like politically to something that happened in Germany nearly 100 years ago at this point. This is what they do consistently, over and over and over again. And it's posts like these from people like George Takei. It's stories in these dog shit mainstream media outlets. It's these things that led to the violence that we just witnessed. And you can't maybe think maybe this isn't the right time to once again compare them to Nazis after us calling them Nazis got someone murdered. Fuck this wrinkled ballsack piece of shit, George Takei. Fuck him. And of course, it's over on Blue Sky because this bitch basically left Twitter like the cuck that he is. 3 million followers on Twitter, by the way. Although if I was getting the little interaction that he was getting with 3 million followers, I'd probably think about quitting too. He reposted something in August, reposted something in June. And then other than that, all the way back in April, he was sharing posts from Comic Sans, which I think is a site that he's actually involved with somehow, that gets like 65 likes. Trump got 500 likes. Okay, 54 likes. Hey, I got 800 likes. Good job. 48 likes from George Takei. 49 likes. Yeah, maybe he left because nobody fucking cares what he has to say. That's why he's over on Blue Sky with all the fucking freaks who are celebrating this. So maybe he thinks that this is appropriate. It's not. It's more of the same shit. Fuck people like George Takei. Tommy, these people wouldn't be fired by liberal bosses. This is showing the world that companies no longer need to bend the knee to the woke mob. I disagree to some extent. I fully believe that there are people that under enough pressure, and if they think the pressure is bad enough, that even if they might share those thoughts, they would fire people. We've seen that. We've seen it with people who are conservative, maybe not as outspoken as the person who got in trouble for saying something, but being complicit in letting someone go or getting rid of them because they think the heat is too much. We've seen it, you know? You think Bob Iger's got his MAGA hat on and just waiting to fucking fire Jimmy Kimmel? Like, no. No fucking way. But they realize that the heat is so bad right now that they had to do something. That's what I think. Norm All Man for Canadian 10. Shatner greater than discount day player. Decay. Hey, William Shatner had a very appropriate post about it. While another Star Trek actor reposted a picture of Captain Kirk and said the only Kirk we care about, while the actual Captain Kirk, William Shatner, is posting about how tragic and awful it was. Mr. Zeeb for 5. Could Gina's lawsuit have any influence on how Disney's now approaching controversies when conservatives are involved? Maybe, to some extent. Not even just conservatives, but anybody. And there are people who want Charlie's kids to be next. Yeah, the sickos that want his wife, his poor wife, Erica, as well. Like, they're disgusting. Turbo Laz, Jimmy Kimmel, bye-bye. Johnny Fizzle for 2. Brain damage leads to brand damage. Ding Weenus for 5. The boomer gen will be gone soon, but not soon enough. I don't know, man. Like, I agree when it comes to some perspectives on that. However, when you look at some of the things that I've seen, lately in terms of political violence, acceptable and stuff like that, when you look at the discrepancy in the age ranges, like baby boomers, 95% of them think that political violence should never be acceptable. Gen X is like 78%, don't think it's acceptable. Millennials are like 60%. And then Gen Z is like only 30% of them are like, yeah, political violence should never be a thing. So I agree in some respects when it comes to boomers, but I also think that there is, in some cases, a different morality associated with that generation than the ones that are growing up now, and it's a huge fucking gap. Rayner for 5. No more tolerance for the left. Roadkill VT. Was Tom Clancy really called before Congress? Tom Clancy? For what? I don't really know. I don't really know. Great day for Ryan's Cubs back in the postseason. That's true. They are. You mean Dan Clancy? Is that what this is about? The heads of Twitch, Discord, Reddit, and something else, I believe are. I believe are. And I think it's going to be really stupid. It's going to be so gay and so fucking dumb. It's going to be so gay and so dumb. Steam, yes, thank you, Namans. I think that it's going to be useless. I think it's going to be pointless. I think that all these people are going to have no idea what even questions to ask. And at the end of all of it, what it might result in are these platforms just being considerably worse for everyone. Personally, that's what I think it may end up to. YouTube lets you say those bad words. What bad words? I haven't said anything that's not okay on YouTube. I haven't said a thing. Shout out to the people watching on Rumble, by the way. Appreciate you guys here. The fuck? Something in the room next to me like fell off a wall. I heard it. There's a ghost in there, one of the others. I don't think there's a ghost, though. Ghosts are BS. Yeah, so I went off on that tangent thinking that maybe you meant Dan Clancy, but if you met Tom Clancy, to be honest, I just don't know. I don't know if Tom Clancy ever was called in front of Congress. Consider the news we just got about ABC and Jimmy Kimmel. Should we talk about Disney a little bit? Ghost of Yotei. We talked about Ghost of Yotei. Even a blind assassin. I couldn't miss Ryan's forehead. I suppose that's true. Tom Clancy died in 2013. Well, I know he's dead. I didn't know if that meant, did he get called in front of Congress at some point in his life? Like in 1998, was he up there like speaking about something? I don't know. From Gundam to Ryan, what a transition. Hey, you're going to see Gundam on this channel next week. On Monday. Nice haircut, Ryan. Got a big date? No, I do not have a big date. I am simply going to Dallas for the weekend. So that's why. Has Jimmy Kimmel put out any statements? All we know is that he's been suspended indefinitely. That's fucking nuts. That's nuts. All right, but let's get to this Disney story. Let's get to this Disney story so we can power through. You remember earlier this year when, like so many other entertainment companies after it's become so clear that audiences have completely and totally rejected woke bullshit in their entertainment and from their entertainment companies. When all these companies started saying, hey, DEI, that's going away. We're not going to do that stuff anymore. And Disney, they were one of the people that were out there and very publicly talking about how many of their DEI things were going to take a backseat. Disney shifts away from DEI to return to its entertainment business mission. The Walt Disney Company is backing away from DEI initiatives to refocus on its core entertainment business mission, according to an internal memo obtained. So the chief human resources officer penned a letter to the 250,000 employees explaining changes in corporate culture to more closely align our initiatives with our business goals. Financial targets will no longer include diversity and inclusion as another performance factor will be placed by talent strategy. They deleted their reimagine tomorrow woke bullshit. But what like I and so many people said was, it's interesting to hear all this. We'll believe it when we see it. I don't think they're getting rid of their DEI bullshit. I just think they're repackaging it and hiding it and putting it somewhere else in the company. Turns out that's exactly what's happening. Disney offers $250,000 salary for a DEI director role, despite Bob Iger's pledge to quiet the noise on divisive politics. Yeah, he's said that every year since he came back as CEO, hasn't he? Yet Disney's latest hiring move makes it clear the corporation's not backing away from its controversial DEI programs. In fact, it's doubling down with a position that pays nearly $250,000 per year. Here's the job posting. You can check it out right here. Disney Careers, Director, Inclusive Learning, Integration, and Planning. And this is for Burbank, California. Job summary. At Disney, we're storytellers. We make the impossible possible. We do this through utilizing and developing cutting-edge technology, pushing the envelope to bring stories to life in our movies, products, interactive games, parks, resorts, and media networks. Now's your chance to join our talented team that delivers unparalleled creative content to audiences around the world. Diversity, equity, and inclusion are critical enablers of this effort. The DEI organization's focused on creating, leading, and supporting our people and culture inclusion strategies. All this bullshit over and over and over and over again. So as it turns out, despite them deleting Reimagine Tomorrow, despite them outwardly putting this stuff out there and saying, hey guys, we're really going to back off on the DEI. It's really unpopular, we promise. What they're really doing internally is they're doing exactly the same shit. That's why so many of their properties have suffered. It's why so much of the writing is just dog shit with any Disney thing that they've done. It's why Pixar is a shell of its former self. When you have these hacks in there who are desperate to make every single one of these characters gay or represent them in some way, and the big execs are like, what are we doing? We can't do this in our newest movie. Like, it is a disaster there. And despite what Disney says, despite the lies that Bob Iger tells, despite them outwardly saying that we're done with this stuff, the truth is they're not. It's clear and obvious. And hey, look, if anybody wants a job that pays $250,000 a year, just go to Disney. Apparently, they're hiring for DEI. You want me to apply? I can't. It's in California, bro. It's in California. Death Doom for 5. Will Disney bring back Splash Mountain? No. Then zippity doo dah, fuck 'em. Spooky Mace for 199. Goodbye, Late Show. R.I.P. Bozo Jimmy. Yeah, Jimmy might be done. Jacob Wolf for 5. Bye, Kimmel. Don't let the Disney door hit your woke ass on the way out. Also, Caleb Williams needs to pay more attention to his pass accuracy versus nails. Bro, I'm so fucking tired of this bullshit, dude. Like, for the record, Caleb Williams 14th in the NFL right now in terms of like his PFF score in terms of like the 32 starting quarterbacks. He's playing above average. And that's higher than a lot of other quarterbacks that were in his rookie class, higher than fucking Jaden Daniels, higher than Bo Nix, higher than I think right along the same line as Drake May right now, if you look at their numbers. Yet it's like he's the worst thing in the world somehow to every single person that has no idea what they're talking about. It's wild. But yes, I agree. He needs to stop painting his fingernails because that shit's gay as fuck. But yeah, the Bears season has been a disaster. Their defense is so fucking bad. Disney just put out a statement. Did they actually put out a statement? Like on social media, or are you just talking about the one that we've been talking about? It's Disney Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, I don't other than like the statements that are coming out from the news sources, that's all I have. Man, I wish I would have gone live my normal time. I could have just titled the stream Jimmy Kimmel done. That's all right. We ended up seeing it while it was live. That's crazy. Bearded Scout Disney lost me when they changed POTC ride. POTC, what does that stand for? Change the name. I'm good. We already talked about it, so I ain't going to change the name of the stream now. Oh, Pirates of the Caribbean. Oh, yeah. I like the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. I mean, I haven't been on it in years and years and years, but I don't know. There's a guy who celebrated the Ukrainian girl's death. His channel's name is Amazing Lucas. Well, look, Amazing Lucas he's had a channel for a long time. He's been retarded for a long time. He's made videos about me all the time. So that wouldn't surprise me at all. I haven't seen that, obviously, but I don't watch his channel. So I don't know. Ryan Long for 10. If Disney changed, then Slave 1 would be Slave 1 again. And the upcoming Black Pearl Lego set wouldn't be called Captain Jack Sparrow's ship. Do you think they didn't name it the Black Pearl because of some woke thing? Is that what you're... I mean, I agree with the Slave 1 thing, but because it says the word black? I don't know. Joshua Anderson for 5. I think Charlie's incident could be the last straw for this culture. It's amazing that Civil War hasn't broken out over this. I don't think anyone needs to be calling for a civil war. QS0, ABC just pulled the plug on Jimmy Kimmel's late night show, and he's gone. He's gone. Black Kane, is this real? Tom Clancy was investigated by DOD because he so accurately inferred the layout of a nuclear submarine, they assumed someone leaked info to him. That's actually really funny. That's really funny. Someone probably did. But yes, for the people that are asking, is Jimmy Kimmel really gone? Yes. So after Jimmy Kimmel's comments last night and all the outrage about it, at first, Nexstar, who is a broadcaster that has like 30 or so ABC affiliates, they said, hey, we're not going to air Jimmy Kimmel's show anymore. And then about 30 minutes, an hour later, Disney just straight up came out and said that, hey, the Jimmy Kimmel show is not going to air indefinitely. We don't really know. Like, that's all they put out. After those comments, it's not going to air. So does that mean he's fired? Does that mean whatever? Like, we don't know yet. We don't know. I do have one more sick, twisted story we have to get to, though. Yeah, all this happened like while we were live. South Park did push their episode, which is, pretty telling, I think. Why did they push it? That's the question. Why did you push it? They said, we just didn't get it done. Nobody believes that. I believe that the topics that you were probably going to talk about, whether it was another Charlie Kirk appearance, whether it was just more about Trump and all this shit, I think they were like, we can't put this out after this. So I think they have to redo the episode. That's what I think. They put out a statement like, sorry guys, sometimes we take it right down to the wire, but we just didn't get it done. No one believes that. But you do have to wonder what exactly about the episode would make them do that. And if they do feel just in the climate with everything that just happened, what it is. I don't know. Now look, Charlie Kirk, as I said last week, Charlie Kirk very much thought it was hilarious that he was like on South Park the way he was. He embraced it. He made it his profile picture for a while. He reacted to it. He loved that they actually used real quotes from him, some of the Bible verses that he used to quote to people and to argue with people about. He loved it. He loved the fact that he was parodied by South Park. Totally embrace it, which is 100% the right thing to do. You do have to wonder if they feel some sort of, whether it's guilt or pressure or whatever it is, because you can't tell me they just didn't get it done. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I got one more degenerate freak to talk about. You might be familiar with this beast. You might be familiar with this beast, but we got one more reason to talk about this shit. Unfortunately or fortunately, depending on your perspective. Last week, after the brutal murder, the public assassination of Charlie Kirk, we saw a lot of people, left-wing lunatics that were celebrating this, that were calling for more. And one of them that got very famous very quickly for doing so and fired within 24 hours was this disgusting piece of shit, Gretchen Felker Martin. DC Comics cancels Gretchen Felker Martin's Red Hood after one issue following Charlie Kirk comments. Now, again, this is a huge, fat, transgender activist who was writing Red Hood for DC Comics. His first issue came out that day, the day Charlie Kirk got assassinated. They pulled it from shelves, they canceled the entire line, and they fired this piece of shit. Then he would go to double down and say that I just didn't think it was a big deal. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Who cares? And you can see like what the person posted, right? They posted thoughts and prayers, you Nazi bitch. Hope the bullet's okay after touching Charlie Kirk. Completely and totally disgusting. Immediately got fired and then did an interview where he said, well, I just didn't think it was that hot of a flashpoint. Everybody knows he's a Nazi and a fascist, and I don't regret anything that I did. Completely disgusting. But this is what DC Comics got for hiring an activist. DC Comics hires transgender writer who advocated slitting J.K. Rowling's throat and called destroying the World Trade Center principled and defensible. This is also a person who wrote a novel, this weird transgender fantasy sex novel, where they killed J.K. Rowling, burned J.K. Rowling alive in it. It's called Manhunt. Well, somebody is out there defending this beast from DC. And that is, of course, another trans person. But this time, Lily Wachowski defends Gretchen Felker Martin, calls Charlie Kirk a white nationalist transphobe. The reason that name might be familiar is because the Wachowski brothers, they used to be the Wachowski brothers, now they're not. When they directed The Matrix, now they're not. Lily Wachowski, maybe the reason that this person felt the need to jump to the defense of this other trans person, maybe just because they're both trans, but also because Lily Wachowski is doing the movie or the show adaptation of that disgusting novel that this person wrote. Lily Wachowski to adapt dystopian horror about trans people hunting feral men for survival. Lily Wachowski's adapting that. And look at what this person said. We can actually find it. Let me see if I can find the actual. Yeah, here it is. Lily Wachowski on Blue Sky, of course. DC Comics planting their flag on the moral high ground on the side of a white nationalist transphobe. Charlie Kirk was none of those things, by the way. Furthest thing from those things, ironically. While dutifully carrying on his rotten work in the firing of Gretchen Felker Martin, the characters of the DC universe would find this despicable. The characters of the DC universe would find it despicable to see all you freaks out there celebrating the assassination and celebrating the murder of Charlie Kirk. That's what the DC heroes in that universe would find despicable. These people are so absolutely morally disgusting. Completely and totally disgusting. But we shouldn't be surprised, I guess. The trans person has the other trans person's back. The trans person who's making this trans person's creepy trans fetish novel where they murder men and burn J.K. Rowling alive. We shouldn't be surprised that they've got each other's backs and continue repeating lies about Charlie Kirk. God. Just fucking wild. Ronan for $2 over on Rumble. Any offers to advertise on your forehead yet? I have a suggestion. G&G199 scan in. I look, for enough money, I might do some advertising on my forehead. I'm not doing that shit though. Sky Shrimp for $2. My biggest worry is the only thing Republicans are going to try to do out of all this is push more censorship, and right now it looks that way. I agree. Now, do I agree that's the only thing that's going to matter? No, but I do agree that I think that is what one of the biggest pushes might be. The Pam Bondi out there talking about hate speech and punish, like, fuck that shit. Absolutely fuck that shit. I could get a barcode or a QR code. I get a QR code tattooed on me that just goes to a Rickroll. Could do that. But can you smell that? It's not censorship, it's stopping people inciting violence. Well, hold up. So it's punishing people for inciting violence, period. It's not censorship, it's stopping people inciting violence. Let's all grow up. Can you smell that? Let me say something to you. There is a huge, we talked about this earlier. There is a big difference. Yes, if someone is actively threatening or calling for the killing of somebody, like an actual threat like that, that is completely different from what Pam Bondi in her statement we're talking about. I don't care. No, I don't care. I do care, obviously. But it is well within your rights as a United States citizen to say, hey, fuck that guy. I don't care that he's dead. Fuck him. Fuck that guy. That dude's a loser. Fuck him. That stuff like that is well within your rights of free speech here in the United States, protected by the Constitution. Okay? And those are some of the things that like Pam Bondi is talking about when they're talking about hate speech. Like, hate speech is not a thing. Hate speech isn't fucking real. Hate speech is a bullshit term. There is a difference between what people call hate speech and actually incitement to violence or direct threats like that. Those are different things. So, no, it 100% is how it was laid out. And the reason that she's getting so much backlash from both sides is because that is very much censorship. They're being fired, not jailed. That's not what, Gun Ho Mac, that's not what I'm talking about. I don't care about these people getting fired. Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States, right, is talking about enacting punishment from the government to people. That is completely different from someone getting fired from their job. Completely different. Oh, okay. Gung Ho Mac. Got it. I don't think she meant that. Well, okay. So you're the only one that knows what she meant, right? She went out there, says these words, and then you bitch out everybody here in the chat who is rightfully calling her out, and you're like, well, I don't think she meant that, even though that's what she fucking said. Hate speech. Not incitement to violence, hate speech. A bullshit term that Charlie Kirk himself fought against for years. Key JX, why they think Charlie Kirk's a Nazi, an ultra-nationalist political party dude. Nah, what the fuck? He's a political activist that done right, not wrong. He never did anything wrong. I agree. Wiley Dave, hey Ryan, did Jay tell you you have 2 packages at your P.O. box? Have a great evening. I didn't hear that, Wiley Dave. Fuck, I'm gonna be out of town. I wish I had known that. I'll show the P.O. box. So I'm sure they'll hold it there for a while. But yeah, I'm leaving town. I'm driving. I'm gonna clip out some stuff and then I'm gonna drive tonight. But thank you, Wiley Dave. I'll have to check it out, man. Appreciate it. And no, Jay didn't tell me. Gerald Armstrong, Jimmy Fallon, last one standing. Defending truth for 2. Stop putting women in charge. Repeal the 19th. Why driving at night? So there's nobody else on the fucking road. Bonnie straight up said hate speech on the podcast. She pulled it back on a tweet. Yeah, like she pulled it back because she got absolutely fucking annihilated. So everyone needs to push back against that shit. Because you might think it's fucking cool right now when it's applying to all these people that are saying shit that you hate. But when a year goes by, 2 years go by, somebody else gets in power, something happens, and then it starts applying to something that you say, you ain't gonna like it that much anymore. Sky Shrimp for $1. That's already illegal, dumbasses. You can already be arrested for inciting violence. Not you, Ryan. Thank you, Sky Shrimp. All right, guys. I think that's it. I can't stream any longer, unfortunately. We got such a great crowd here. It's been a great fucking stream. I can't stream any longer. I got to get going, unfortunately, because I have a drive ahead of me and some work to do right before that drive. Red Dawn Batman. South Park couldn't get their episode done in time. Remember when they would literally make a whole episode within 5 days? Well, that's still what they're doing. Like, to be clear, that's still how South Park does their stuff. They still do it like that week. And they're saying that we couldn't get it out in time, basically. I think everybody thinks it's because they didn't feel comfortable putting it out after what happened, maybe because of what they were planning on covering. Don't really, just our guesses, right? Just our guesses based on what this season's all been about, including Charlie Kirk himself being in it. And then Snacks, drive safe, watch out for boomerangs. I don't think I have to work about boomerangs. Key JX for $10. What will happen to Ben Shapiro now? Ben Shapiro is going to continue to work at Daily Wire. I don't know. Holy shit. I got a massive spike in my Jimmy Kimmel video as we were live because now people are searching Jimmy Kimmel. That's crazy. But I am going to try to send you guys to raid Jeremy. Let's see if we can do this. Customization, redirect. Jeremy is live right now. So I'm going to send you to Jeremy. He's talking about Jimmy Kimmel. He's talking about all the same stuff you guys will want to hear about. So I'm going to send you guys to go see D-Day Cobra. But yeah, Ben Shapiro is going to continue to do Daily Wire. I don't really know. Big focus on Ben Shapiro over the last week, that's for sure. But hey, I really appreciate all you guys being here. And fuck all these pieces of shit who are dancing on Charlie Kirk's grave. We're going to continue to call them out, including Jimmy Kimmel. But all right, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for being here. Hopefully, I will drive safe. I will drive safe, like everyone's asking. Bye, everybody. Really quick on Rumble. Sky Shrimp for $1. Never underestimate Republicans' ability to take defeat from the jaws of victory. Very true. All right. Bye, everybody. Bye, everybody.